Hello everyone, welcome to podcast number 32. Today we are going to talk about crossover games in recent news of Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. Two games that I have never played, and I am leading this podcast. Luckily here with me are Paul Franzen, Michael Gray, hey, and Mike, and... Wait,
no booing the editor-in-chief.
Who is this guy booing us? I don't know. Is there a fourth member of the podcast? Oh, wait, that's right. We've got Michael Ridgaway here.
Yeah, Michael Ridgway's the greatest. Woo!
Anyway, everyone introduce yourselves.
I'm Paul Franzen, GameCola's editor-in-chief. I also write Minus the Pudding, the best of Xbox Live indie games, reviews, and various news posts, mostly about Phoenix Wright and Back to the Future.
Back to the Future is awesome. When's it coming out?
December, I think. The first episode comes out in December.
I'm Michael Gray, and I don't know what I do anymore. I'm kind of like not on the staff and kind of on the staff.
So you're like the Schrodinger's cat of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle of GameCola.
He has often been described that way.
Yes.
And I'm Michael Ridgway, and as I mentioned before, I'm the greatest. And I do Quantum Geek and other random...
Yeah, you missed your deadline, by the way.
I was getting married.
You still missed it. Tell Vangie she missed her deadline, too.
When was her deadline?
I don't know, yesterday.
It's on the podcast. That erases his deadline. It's once a month, right?
Oh.
Is it?
The Quantum Geek fans are very upset about this. There's that one person who posts the comments on each one. She's very, very concerned.
Okay, well, that makes me feel bad now, actually. I will work on it. Actually, the next article is probably going to be about the wedding. Because there were some
Quantum Geek?
No, and the next thing I post will be about the wedding because
cool.
There were some very wonderfully dorky things about our wedding.
I saw the picture of your cake topper. I won't spoil what it is, though.
Best cake topper ever.
That could be an awesome plot twist for Quantum Geek if the, I'm totally blanking on the characters' names, but if they had to get married, that could be interesting.
They're in Monkey Island right now, and there are weddings at Monkey Island, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
What if Quantum Geek did a crossover with Gamer Girlfriend? Crossover.
Already happened, Paul. Already happened. That was in... When did that happen?
January
It was a
2009,
Janet.
2010. No, yeah.
Well, if we
2009.
wanted to make this like a really nice and proper crossover podcast, we should have invited someone from another website.
Oh, why didn't you think of that before?
Because I'm not the editor or the guy who runs the podcast.
We totally could have found someone. Oh, well.
Yikes. Anyway...
So, crossover game.
Yeah, this is about crossover games. Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Two games that I have never played.
Awesome.
Now, I know Michael Gray has played both of those games. Mike Ridgway, have you also?
No. Vangie, it plays Professor Layton. Actually, Vangie should be here. She's around the apartment somewhere. I should get her out here. But she has played all of them. She just wrapped up the new one for the new Professor Layton, and she has played all the Phoenix Wrights. So she'd be a good person to ask about this. I don't know why I'm here and she's not, to tell the truth.
We should get her and Michael Gray to discuss who should date whom between the games.
But I am excited because, I watch her play the Professor Layton games, and I love the style of them. The animation's beautiful. I love the music. And I love Phoenix Wright. And my only qualm with this game is that it probably won't have Miles Edgeworth, who is, as we know, the goddamn man. So
It does seem like it's going to be a crossover where it's specifically they're only going to have the two main characters from each series, so we're not going to see cameo appearances from, say, other Phoenix Wright characters or other Professor Layton characters.
Although, wouldn't you just love to see puzzles hosted by Gumshoe? Because that would be kind of great.
Those would be the easy ones. They would be great. Yeah, I don't know why. That's one of my questions about the game is why they purposely decide to make this take place in some sort of fictional universe.
Yeah, actually, I liked what you wrote about that, Michael. How people were saying it was totally unrealistic that these two series could ever meet because they're from two different countries.
Isn't Professor Layton supposed to be, like, in the past or something? I mean, I have no idea.
No, he's from Britain. They have Big Ben. That's actually the plot of the Professor Layton movie, is somebody has stolen Big Ben, and he's been hired to solve the mystery.
Yeah, but what time period is he in?
With puzzles. Also, Vangie is here to add her opinion. Go, Vangie,
There are
go.
huge robots, so it's probably modern times, because people couldn't build robots, say, 50 years ago.
I see.
The first game is
Vangie,
the entire town is androids. It's so lame.
Vangie, what are your thoughts on the new Professor Layton Phoenix Wright game, having played all of them?
Looks cool.
Speak up, dear.
Thank you, Vangie. That's it. Okay, see you later.
It looks like fun.
It does look like fun.
I wish it had fewer Professor Layton-style puzzles, personally.
Vangie, who do you think should go out between the two games?
Who do I think should go out?
As in, like, date. Which of the characters do you think should date?
I don't think any of the characters should date.
You don't want to see Luke and Maya get together?
Ew.
No.
No. It's Luke and Pearl. They're the same age, so they gotta hang out and be BFFs.
Isn't Luke, like, in his teens?
No,
I
he's
think
like
he's probably
10.
about 10 or 11.
Yeah. They're about the same age, but from the pictures we've seen so far, they take place in the fourth Professor Layton game, which is supposed to be like a sequel, or not a sequel, a prequel. See, this would make sense if we actually had the fourth game, which is only in Japan right now, but the fourth game is supposed to tell the story of how Professor Luke first met Layton. Wait.
Wow.
I'm sorry. It's supposed to tell the story of how Professor Layton first met Luke, and Luke is still wearing that costume that he has from the fourth game, so presumably it takes place a couple of years before the first three Layton games.
So do you think they're going to wait until at least Professor Layton 4 comes out here before releasing this game here?
Probably.
I don't know. I'm kind of concerned about that because the 3DS will be out by the time they can get around to finishing Professor Layton number 4. So, I mean, will they have to change it to make it a 3DS game, or will they just skip over it? They're kind of skipping over the movie. They said the movie won't be released anywhere besides Japan and Europe.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they still just released it for the DS anyway. There's usually a little overlap when a new system comes out, when they're still releasing games for the old system.
And I imagine you'll still be able to play DS games on 3DS.
Oh, yeah. Then again, the Phoenix Wright series were all Game Boy Advance games, and then when they came here, they were on the DS, so...
I mean, the newer DS games don't have... I mean, the newer DS systems don't have backwards compatibility.
That's right,
So
they don't have the Game Boy Advance slot at all, do they?
No. So
No, but I mean, this is the first gen of the 3DS system, so I think it's going. I think we're going to see
the cartridges are supposed to be like the same size, right? Maybe did I hear that? Maybe I
same
didn't hear.
size, got a little tab sticking out on the edge, so you can't stick them in a normal DS.
But I mean, the new Pokemon is for the DS, and then will probably come out at the same time as the 3DS here. I'm fairly certain you'll be able to do both on one machine, like 3DS games and regular DS games. But that's not really on topic for what we're supposed to be discussing.
Oh, okay. Well, back to Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton. We've seen a bunch of Layton-style cutscenes, which look awesome because now they have like a full-blown animation department working for the Layton series, but we haven't really seen any gameplay.
Well, I think what they said, it's supposed to have Professor Layton-style puzzles plus, like, Phoenix Wright-style...
Contradiction.
Yes, contradiction-seeking. So I'm guessing they're probably going to be independent of one another. Maybe, like, instead of the investigation scenes, you're going to have the puzzle scenes, and then after that I'll go to the court where you do the normal courtroom stuff. Maybe.
Could be.
But I don't actually know what I'm talking about.
I just thought they were just trying to use a buzzword from each of the series to make everybody think that the gameplay is going to be awesome.
You don't think it's going to be awesome?
Well, it will be awesome, but...
It will be awesome, but I'm not sure how it's going to be, it's going to be a mix of the two. I think it should be more...
At their heart, they're both puzzle games, and it's not like they're like one's a puzzle, one's an action game, and it's going to suck if you put them together. They're both puzzle games. And when we get
Phoenix
down
Wright
to it,
versus Bioshock.
the core is the same for these games. There's just, slightly different ways of doing the puzzles.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I think it's going to be like what Paul said. I think we're going to have the two things separated rather than what they gave us was the slogan saying the two will be mixed together in one thing. I think what they'll do is have a Layton section, then a Phoenix Wright section, and just switch back and forth between the two.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
Okay, so Jetty hasn't said anything in forever, which I think means we need to move on to a crossover game that he's actually played, such as...
Battletoads and Double Dragon.
Good times.
Right?
AKA the other crossover game.
We're going back about 20 years here to reach another crossover game.
Yes, the Super Nintendo side-scrolling classic, I guess?
No, it was regular Nintendo.
Was it? No, it was totally... I have it on Super Nintendo.
Really? Because
Super
I was
Nintendo.
like,
It was on both.
No,
It was on both.
Okay, maybe it was on both. I don't know because I literally
It was on both, guys.
just before the podcast I was playing it on the NES.
It was on both Nintendo and Super Nintendo. It was a dual release.
Whoa!
Not only that, it was also later ported to Sega Genesis and Game Boy.
What?
I have no idea. That's just what Wikipedia says.
Wow. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah, it says it was originally on the NES and then later ported to Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy. Super Nintendo version's the one I played. I don't think I still have it, though, because it was too hard for me, as so many games are.
Anyway.
Why do I even play video games?
Right? What is a game that's not too hard for you, Paul Franzen?
Most adventure games aren't.
Right? Yeah.
Hence why
That's
they're
true.
my favorite.
Well, here, I'm gonna run down a list of crossover games.
Are you looking at Wikipedia?
No, I'm not.
What? Okay. Paul, keep track of what he says and see if he says anything that's not on Wikipedia.
Now,
Not on
have-
Wikipedia? Okay.
We have the fighting games. So we've got
Yeah.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom, Capcom versus Marvel, The King of them All, Smash Brothers. And if anyone refutes that, you're wrong. Then we have your stuff where you smash.
There's also Dissidia.
Now, are we talking like two video game franchises smashed together, or are we talking like TV stuff smashed together? Because there's a lot of
That's something we were talking about a little before the podcast started, how there aren't like a whole lot of games that are just like, this is one series, this is another series, they're coming together. There's a lot more where...
like you have a recent one from Sony where it's like Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, someone else, all adventuring together.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for the move, I believe.
The other ones I don't
I know
know.
about-
Yeah, it's coming out, or has it already been released? It's for the it's for the PlayStation Move, so I guess that
might
means it's
already
already
be
released.
Well, because, if you're talking about video games and not necessarily video game characters, of course there is Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, well, yeah, it's...
Oh, that totally counts.
But I mean, there's also video game characters, because I guess there's Final Fantasy characters in
Yeah.
it, right?
There's Dissidia, too.
Yeah.
That's a crossover in a way. Yeah, that's a crossover. If Smash Bros. Is a crossover, then that's a
Yeah,
crossover.
exactly.
Yeah, we-
I mean, for
So
that
a lot
matter,
of-
there's all of the Mario sports games.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe not, because I guess most of those, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, most of those actually just have characters from the Mario series, unlike Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I think the crossover aspect has lent itself best in the past to fighting games, just because you can throw the characters in there. You don't have to do a lot of stuff with their individual universes and making stories. You just have them beat the hell out of each other. And a lot of the time, that's just what people want. It's like, oh, I think this guy's tougher. Oh, I think this guy's tougher. Well, fight it out.
Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
That's, well, hold on, wait. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, like the original Donkey Kong game? Was that a crossover? Or was it like a...
It's a Game Boy series, though. Like Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It was a Game Boy
Yeah,
series.
no,
Like the Mario Minis, but not actually Mario, but they still called it Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's in addition to Mario being in the original Donkey Kong game.
See, that was like a crossover before crossovers.
Whoa.
Like before either game became like a real game on its own, they started together.
So, really, it's like the other games are just, like, the Mario series is a spin-off of the Donkey Kong series.
Weird.
In one. Actually, is that true, though? When did the Mario Brothers game come out? Not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers.
That's a good question.
I don't know if that predates Donkey Kong or not.
The first Mario Brothers game?
Not yet, not
Donkey
Super Mario
Kong
Brothers,
came
just
out
Mario
before
Brothers.
Well, the one where it's like in Super Mario Brothers 3, they have that mini game.
That
Yeah.
came out before. That was an arcade game. That came out before Super Mario Brothers.
Did it come out before Donkey Kong?
I'm not sure if that came out. I don't know. That must have come out after because Super Mario was originally.
That's the question: is whether Mario originated in Donkey Kong or whether he was in Mario
he
Brothers first
originated
and
in
then
Donkey.
crossed over.
He originated in Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Yeah.